when seeing those red flags earlier, like the project actually even starting, back out sooner, even if it's not like the most graceful opportunity. Don't wait until both people want to back out. Then it was easy when he was like finally done. Then it was easy for me to be graceful and leave. And he was like, yeah, I'm ready to be done too. Great. We've been ready for a month to be done. I should have exited earlier, right? That was a lesson.
Welcome to the Painter Growth Podcast, where we help you scale your painting company in record time. Join us as we explore sales, marketing, hiring, finances, leadership, and more, everything that you need to know to scale and grow your painting business. I hope you enjoy and subscribe. What's up, everybody? Michael Hickman here, founder of PainterGrowth.com. You're listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. We have round 2 of Eric Fozz, Pathfinder Painting, and Eric the Painter, running his own painting business, basically virtually now. Stoked to get an update on that. Already found out how you're doing, which is wonderful. So, ¿qué pasa hoy?
¿Qué pasó? Estoy muy bien.
We're both learning Spanish for anyone listening.
Dude, all the actual like fluent Spanish, they're like these freaking gringos over here.
People find it endearing when I try to speak Spanish. Like my Spanish friends, they find it endearing. It's like, hey, you're trying to learn our culture, so it's like
because you're actually trying. No, same thing. Like when I'm in Colombia and like I'm not just the annoying person like making fun of it, and I'm actually like I actually really care. I'm actually trying. They appreciate it a ton.
Okay, real talk. My favorite thing about Spanish, and I've told my whole team this, like all my Spanish speakers and friends and stuff, is like verb and noun modifiers and how you can like change a word to make it mean something different. Like how you can add like ito at the end of anything to make it small.
Yeah.
And how you can say like instead of like, you know, quiero means me, like I want, and like queremos or queremos is like we want. Like, you don't need to say the we. It's just like
it's a more efficient language.
So much more efficient.
My favorite is ja. Because like, so I will respond to a team member like, hey Eric, can you take care of this or something? Can you go do this real quick? And normally I have to respond and be like, yep, it's done, or yep, already did that. Already took care of that. That's 3 words. I can just take 2 letters. Ja. We're good. It's so cool. I love it.
Super efficient.
Yeah.
So I've noticed. I saw a couple of posts on Facebook recently of the painting company just kind of popping off. You guys making like 60% plus gross margins while you're selling virtually and producing in, you know, while you're in Colombia.
We're producing virtually too. It's crazy.
Yeah. Let's walk through that, man. How did you, instead of, I don't want to hear how you got there yet. I want to hear how it is right now. Walk me through a day in the life.
Right now.
Yeah.
Day in the life of Eric the Painter is not much Eric the Painter, honestly. I have my morning sales meeting, which is actually a combined sales team training and meeting with marketing and painting because the teams are small enough and the training kind of cross train. So, I have that meeting in the morning for an hour. I'll probably have a couple Slack messages midday or so. I've got an admin response block on my calendar that I'll be responding to our marketing team, my painting team, and sometimes even some clients in that same time. So maybe a couple Slack messages midday on a couple things people need some support on or something. And then we have a 4:30 production huddle with my coordinator, my project manager, just to see how the day wrapped up, if they need any support on anything, make sure schedule is good for the next coming days with projects coming up, get anything maybe they ran into in the day that they need support on. And that's really it for the most part. Obviously, every now and then.
You're acting as GM, basically.
Yeah, more or less. It's kind of the title I've coined myself. And I mean, just if you look at an org chart, right, I have a salesperson, I have an appointment setter, I have a project coordinator doing the admin work and scheduling, and a project manager. So like, yeah, what responsibilities am I fulfilling in the company? I'm coaching the team. I'm filling that general manager role in a lot of ways.
Yeah, general manager or like CEO.
I guess also like finance department. I don't know, but like, yeah, you know, so.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't do or early on in businesses is actually create an org chart or really list out the roles that you are doing. And it's really interesting once you actually see what you're doing and what you don't really need to be doing or what your team should be doing. Like right now in my business, I am like CEO and marketing manager. And that's like pretty much it. Podcast host kind of marketing, but like that's
in the marketing business, I'm a lot more roles, right? Like I'm a lot more roles for sure. Yeah.
And so right now, like throw some numbers down. So you've been in your painting business for like just a year now.
Never had any painting. 13 months technically. Yeah.
Never had any painting
beginning of
experience leading up to this. What have you produced in the last 30 days?
Where
Flex
did
on
we
me.
finish
Flex on me,
April
bro.
at? I'm not sure it'd be that much of a flex. So in April, we produced like 45. I think it was technically like 46,000.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, though, like, so we're only 10 days into this month and we've already produced like 26 or something, I think, or like 30. We had like a $10,000 job that finished like the first day into the month.
Yeah.
And the way I haven't segmented it out to be like 9,500 was produced this day. Right. So technically it all hit as produced in May for context. But I'd say on average right now, yeah, we're producing like 50 to 60 a month right now. Selling about 80 to 100 a month right now.
All virtually.
Yeah, sales are 100% virtual. I was joking about the production is virtual. Our painters are in person. I haven't figured that one out yet. That was a complete joke earlier.
You got to get these Tesla bots
Sales are
going. Once you get these Tesla bots, you'll be able to get the virtual.
No, we just paint through Zoom.
Yeah. So tell me, I mean, we talked a little bit about the virtual estimate process like a year ago, or not long ago, like 6 months ago. I think the first time you're on the podcast. Who's doing your virtual sales right now, and what's changed since then?
Honestly, really, with the virtual sales process, really nothing has changed. Same sales guy. He's still 2 hours away from the location. Has still only visited the city of Cleveland to see the paint business once, just to see production and say hi. We did like Top Golf that night. It was our Christmas party. From virtual sales process, really nothing has changed except just improving sales skill sets, training with the team and stuff. That's really it.
How do you get? I can't remember if I asked you this, but like, how do you get measures? Because that's probably the big question, right?
Yeah. How do you actually like tactically price it? For interiors, we go by piece pricing. So basically, we're putting everything into a box based on like standard measurements, right? We could all, if we're all in the same market, right? If we're all in Cleveland, we'd all look at a photo and go, yeah, that's about a standard Cleveland bedroom, 12 by 12, 15 by 15, right? So we put everything into boxes basically. And obviously then there's different check boxes as far as like levels of prep and condition and some of that sort of stuff, right? So you do have some of that, but that's how we do interiors. Exteriors is like similar in terms of boxes to check as far as substrates, condition, that sort of stuff. But we actually measure there on Google Earth. We can measure length and then we estimate height by 10 foot a story, which I think most people do.
Yeah.
So that's how we do that.
And have you had any jobs bid virtually that was like way off budget?
Oh yeah, we've had a bunch. But I don't think any of those are
exactly what we want here.
No, it's just true. But like, look, has everybody had a bunch of jobs that are off budget when they're a new painting company and a sales rep starting out? Like probably, right? So yes, we've misbid a ton of things and gotten screwed on some projects. Very few of those were ever like, because I can't think of one that it was because it was virtual, right? Like so was there a couple that there was an issue with the bidding process in the system? Yes. It wasn't we couldn't see it because it was virtual. It was we had an error in our calculations and stuff. You get the same thing if you're in person. And we had some things where my sales guy didn't quite determine and realize like, I need to put this in as this and whatever. It's kind of weird situation. I didn't realize, I got to count more for locks on because it's going to be more immaterial. And like, 100% those have happened. That would have happened if we were in person.
So it's a human error thing, not a virtual estimate error.
That's been 99% of them. We've had, nothing even I can really think of, but we had some very small things that's like, it's virtual. We need to tweak the system to also account for this.
Yeah. That's wicked, man. And do you do like an adjustment where it's like, it'll be like within 5 or 10%, or do you give them the price is the price is the price?
We give them the price is the price is the price. We've actually just started doing this a tiny bit, depending on what it is. Like if there is something where we're like, this is a weird one or whatever, we'll tell them we're like, look, like 99.999% of the time, these are 100% good. We always do this regardless for other reasons, but like we'll send our project manager out to do a walkthrough with you just to make sure you're prepared for paint day and everything. He'll go through this. Like I said, 99% of the time you're good. There's an off chance, Susan, because of these two weird things we were talking about, this needs to get adjusted a little bit, but you should be 100% fine. So there's one or two weird ones here and there, you know?
Yeah. It's just communication, right? It's just like setting expectations effectively.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. 1,000%.
Yeah. And then how about the Like deposit and stuff. You just taking deposits through Drip Jobs, like sending them the email and they just pay a deposit.
Just a Stripe invoice.
Stripe invoice. Dude, I love it.
People think, bro. People think this virtual sales is like this crazy, like this AI and order online and all this, dude. It's like, the systems in the business to allow me to be in another country and do all this stuff. Like, they're not fancy. They're really good. They're not fancy and complicated.
Yeah.
Literally, we copy and paste the link to a Stripe invoice and say, all right, John, I'm texting that over to you now. While you fill that out, I'm going to add a couple things to the proposal. We can look at that together, make sure there's no funny business, and we'll be all set and straight. Like, it's ugly.
People haven't done this sooner. Like, it's honestly a really low barrier to entry in terms of the technological hurdle. I'm just surprised that no one has really done this sooner.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, as a contractor, I lived in my truck, you know, like for the first couple of years, I like lived in my truck, right? You're driving to site, you're driving estimates, you're like from 7 a.m. till 6 p.m. you're in your truck or like on site.
100%. Well, and dude, when I was first starting this thing, I kind of had this idea. I remember I was sitting there and I was like, I think this is possible. And I was like, if anybody's going to be able to do this in the paint landscape of like, who's out there in paint world right now? If anybody's going to be able to do this, I was like, it's probably me, because basically my entire sales career has been virtual for the most part, from the marketing company, and like the majority call center at Thiel's, right? Like the majority of my experience has been virtual as it is. I understand building a virtual team and culture and systems from the marketing company and overseas team members and leveraging that. Like, how many paint business owners do you even know that have a virtual assistant? It's not even that, like, that's even kind of like a whoa thing. In marketer and coaching world, that's nothing, right? But I was like, if anybody's going to be able to do that, like, it's probably me. You know? Yeah. But yeah, it's not super complicated.
Yeah. So you went in with a hypothesis, right? The hypothesis was, I believe painting homeowners will purchase a paint job virtually. And then you went to test that hypothesis by getting sample data, as high quality data as you could, trying your best. And it seemed like it turned out like it worked.
Yeah, that part, like, I know it's this on another podcast, but like even on our last podcast, Mike, like that part hasn't changed at all. Like we had a lot of hurdles in the beginning with this paint business, and virtual sales was not one of them. Like, that was the one thing that like went exactly as I expected it to go.
Yeah. Yeah. I have a client actually right now. He's absolutely going to be listening to this. And before I even say his name, he knows what I'm going to say. He knows I'm going to talk about him. He has a painting business, and he's shutting it down because he's moving like 2.5 hours away to a different city. And he's like in this in-between period where he needs to like finish up his production, and he's got like several weeks of production, but he wants to like get a good start in this new location before he fully moves. And he's dealing with like hiring marketers and trying to do estimates and all this stuff. And so he was one of the first of my clients to like really adopt the virtual assistant. I helped him get a virtual assistant, been crushing him, helped him really scale up. And now he's like, how am I going to do all these estimates? I'm like, just do them virtually. It's like, I've never done them virtually, kind of freaking out, putting it like on a pedestal a little bit. But I think the way that you talk about it is just like, don't put it on a pedestal. Just go try it.
Dude, I think real talk, why? Because I know a lot of people that have tried virtual a little bit, and like they've done few, and they're like, the close rate's so much lower. It's only 5%. I think there's two reasons. One, I think people that kind of try virtual, they don't go all in on it. It's like, well, I'll do a couple. Right? It's like, oh, I'll try Facebook ads for 2 weeks. Like, no crap, it didn't work. You know what I mean? It's like you never actually committed to it anyways. I think that's part of it. I think the other part of it is like, you are at a slight disadvantage being virtual. There's other things you can make an argument being in having an advantage, but I think most painting contractors or painting business owners don't actually really have a sales process. I was like, what's your sales process? Like, can you give me a document with like, here's my core questions, here's our sales methodology, here's how we're going about things. Like, describe it to me. Most people be like, well, I go in and, I ask, give me a look around, and then I, make a price and I give it to them. And I'm like, great, you are an order taker. Thank you.
Or I email it to them the next day.
You didn't explain to me, even the good ones that price in the spot, like, you didn't give me a sales process. Like, dude, even like painting business owners we all know and love that do lots of revenue and are like, we're like, oh my gosh, these people are amazing. I would challenge half of them probably don't have a written out sales process. Like this is, so that makes the transition to virtual a lot easier. Like having an actual defined sales process, like these are our core questions. This is our scripting. We ask this every single time. This is why we ask it. We've been trained on this. This is why we ask it. This is how we ask it. And when they say this, we're going to say this. And when we get these questions, we're going to ask these questions, right? Like that is what makes that easier. We're not just walking in and winging it. Yeah. But unfortunately, that is what most paint business owners are doing when they go in and do an estimate.
Yeah, 99%.
Winging it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've stories every day of our clients installing even a little bit of our sales process. And they're like, I can't believe how much easier this is.
1,000%. They're like, oh, I have like two or three questions that I know I ask every time to get certain pieces of information. And it's like, wow, imagine if that was the entire process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
and like something as simple as like a setup call and making sure that both decision makers are going to be there.
Dude, yeah, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I remember. So in October 2021, I had a hypothesis, and no one believed me on this, and everyone doubted me. And my hypothesis was, I believe painting contractors will buy information, so buy an online training course. That was my hypothesis. Actually, it was September because I launched Painter Growth Blueprint in October 2021, and then after the first month, when we had brought on 40 clients, I had a reflection. Like a couple of days where I like sat and like journaled and reflected, and like on the top, I still have it in big block letters on the top. I said, painters will buy info.
Yeah.
Like I had a hypothesis. I went and I tested it, proved it. And now we went all in and have scaled it, obviously.
Yeah, no, killer. And I think shiny object syndrome is a real thing and it can be tough. And I think that can be crippling for a lot of entrepreneurs, but I think there is a little bit of, there can be some good in shiny object syndrome because it keeps you curious. You know, like think about all the people that made a ton of money with TikTok and crypto and all these sort of things. Like if they didn't have shiny object syndrome, they wouldn't have seen those opportunities. So it's like, it's that balance of having just enough shiny object syndrome that you see opportunities and you create those hypotheses and go test them, but not so much that you're doing something different every other week and you do nothing. That is where that,
I mean, being able to spot opportunities is good, but once you identify an opportunity that is big enough, you need to stop looking. Same way as like when you're looking for a girl, you find a girl, and you gotta stop looking as soon as you commit to that one. I think a business decision is the exact same, right? You're looking, like I have a huge opportunity here. Okay, I'm gonna give this everything, and I can't look elsewhere, or else it's gonna distract me from the prize. We just bought a house 2 days ago, and I'm still getting emails for like new houses coming on the market. I'm like, I got to turn those off.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the exact same. So shiny object syndrome until you're committed. And then you got to like just put those blinders on and run 100 miles an hour down that road.
1,000%. Yeah. That's a great analogy.
So how's production working right now? So you're not there. You got W2s. You tried the sub thing. You got burned a whole bunch. What's production like right now?
Production's good. It's pretty cool actually. Right now we even have 2 painters on the team that I've never even met in person. I didn't interview them. I didn't do the phone screen or anything. I've never even met them. I mean, they've seen my icon in Slack. That's it. Yeah. They're great members of the team. They're doing they're doing great. Like some of them have been on the team for a couple of weeks. Some of them have earned some fat bonuses. Like they're doing great. But yeah, production's running good. I mean, our project manager heads up a lot of that, right? He's the one popping between different job sites, doing training with the team members, developing our apprentices, developing our painters into job site managers, doing all that sort of stuff. Like I said, I have the check-in call with him to develop him and continue to help him be a better leader for our team members, right? Yeah. I don't know. Where do you want me to go with production? I mean, I don't know.
It sounds like it's pretty smooth. What's I mean, it's all, it's not all sunshines and unicorns. No, what's a recent hurdle that you had to overcome in your painting business?
On the production side specifically?
No, on anything.
Oh, just anything?
Yeah.
Well, we're talking about production, so I will just rip on that one because we're actually kind of dealing with a tiny bit of it actually even today, right? Because it's not all sunshine and rainbows by any means. We had the second ever project. We had to just like leave and just we're like, hey, like we're not gonna be the right people for the job. It's okay. Don't pay us $1. We're not gonna continue to put up with this. Which I try to be very carefully not. And I think my de-escalation skills are pretty good and everything. But it was a really difficult one where I think it was a big project, big project. It was actually sold like last July. It's just now is going to get starting to be produced in like February. So actually I was dealing with a part of this at the PCA and stuff too. That was a great test to like, can we put out fires while I'm not there? It was a phenomenal test. And it worked great. But anyways, it did finally get to produce like February because they had all these other contractors. Basically, they were GCing their own project. The guy runs several businesses. He's had a couple investment properties he had work on. So he is GCing the project with all these different things, and all that went wrong. So like timelines were all sort of screwed up. They were awful at communication. They would seem to be forgetful. We were constantly having to send screenshots of like, nope, you said this. Nope, I said this. Not trying to be like, it was really rough. And they were very strange where they would be like incredibly abusive over a text message with word choice. Maybe abuse is wrong, but like it'd be incredibly harsh. Then you talk to them on the phone and they'd be like the sweetest, nicest people, super kind and endearing. So it was very weird. Honestly, I probably should have backed the team out of it sooner. But it's different. Like it's different. I find that different with painting versus marketing, to be frank. Like I will fire a client immediately on the marketing side if I know they're not a good fit, like immediately. We do it regularly. It's like, if that's cool. The painting side's a little different. Like they're constantly holding that like negative review over you and stuff. Not that you can't leave a negative review on the marketing if you can, but like, I don't know. It's just a little weird. It's a little different. So I probably should have backed the team out a little sooner. That was definitely probably a lesson learned there. But we backed the team out. Said, you don't pay us $1. It's all good. And there was a few little touch-ups of something that we were supposed to go take care of today. They didn't text us till like 9:30 last night that, tomorrow works. So we're trying to get my PM out there, but he had to go take care of something else in the morning. And they're like, you never prioritize us. And this is
so what did you take away from this? Like, what are you changing in process? Cause like, you're obviously very process oriented. What are you changing in process to try to weed out these types of nightmare clients ahead of time?
Honestly, I think we did a good job there. Like, I really do think we did. There was really no red flags up until like the project had actually really started in certain ways. And that's when I should. So like, I just should have, that was the lesson, is when seeing those red flags earlier, like the project actually even starting, back out sooner, even if it's not like the most graceful opportunity. Don't wait until both people want to back out. Then it was easy. When he was like finally done, then it was easy for me to be graceful and leave. And he was like, yeah, I'm ready to be done too. Great. We've been ready for a month to be done. I should have exited earlier, right? That was a lesson. So, like, for context, we came in February. My project manager walks through. It was a big house. Like, we were spraying all the trim, 3-story house, 2-story with a basement. So he walks through a whole game plan, right? Like, hey, we're gonna spray all the trim these days. Like, you guys may want to plan to stay at a friend's house. Does that work for you guys, et cetera? Have a great game plan. He spends like 3 hours on this walkthrough with him. Our normal walkthrough is maybe like 30 minutes, like a pre-job walkthrough. And we prep everything off, mask all the windows off, tape everything off. We're like ready for spray, and they start freaking out. They're like, we're not ready for paint. We didn't tell you guys you could paint yet. What are you talking about? Like, we said you could prep some stuff. But we have all these other contracts. We're doing crown molding. We're like, this is the first we've heard of crown molding, guys. And like, we did a 3-hour walkthrough, and that cycle progressed then throughout the entire job, where it's just like this. And I get it. Like, it's tough for them. They have a baby on the way. It's not that I'm unsympathetic to the customer. They have a baby on the way. They're GCing their own project. And I think that was where it went south as a whole, is like, they are trying to GC their own project and like treat us like a subcontractor, that they just are like, hey, can you come tomorrow? Like, no, we have a schedule. We cannot. We can probably working in the next couple of weeks. Like, but no, we don't operate that way, unfortunately. And I think that made it difficult. But the overall lesson was, maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's in terms of the processes. We certainly look for that a little bit more. Is this somebody that's GCing their own project? Like, we have a stage in our project management system, which is like contractor dependent. And like, look, if you're a homeowner, you got 1 or 2 things for sure. But are you a homeowner that's doing like a full scale renovation? You know, you're putting $200,000 into this house.
You're trying to do it yourself, and it's the first
time.
Yeah,
and you're trying to GC your own thing. Like, and when we had that first moment, so we had to back out there. We had to take all the paper off. Like, we spent $1,000 on labor. That was like we're just going to come back in a month when they're decided they're ready. But we literally 2 days ago talked about how we like made no sense. Should have just backed out then. Yeah, really. But
yeah, some red flags. Being a little bit more aware of red flags and being okay to walk away.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. Is like, we saw the red flags, but it's like, I should have just risked the 1-star review and just backed out sooner.
Yeah.
Really. You know,
Yeah.
it would have saved
Yeah.
the team. It would have saved money. It would have saved the team a bunch of agony and stress too that they went through. Like, it hasn't been
Or
fun for
maybe
anybody.
seen if you could find a sub that, or not like a sub, but like another contractor who would be more suitable for their job.
Yeah, but exactly. I would want to manage that project. If I was managing that project and just subbing it out, it would have been the same problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
exactly.
We're doing kind of a hyper speed episode today,
Rapid
just a
fire.
quick one.
Sure.
Yeah, but I wanted to bounce just quickly to a super sexy topic. Honestly, it was my favorite topic when I was painting, and that is gross margin.
Yeah.
Love gross margin.
I love gross margin.
Gross margin. If anyone listen, you'd better know it, but it's basically how much money do you have left after paying for labor and paint. So lately, you've been hitting some 50, 60, 70% gross margin jobs. How you doing that? Are you just on smaller jobs or in some big ones too?
We've had both. I will say it definitely seems to be more common on the smaller ones for sure. But we've definitely had it both recently. Exteriors have been a lot easier to crush it on. And honestly, as just our painters have gotten more and more dialed in. We really only have one person that's like at an apprentice level still in the company. Everybody else is like rocking.
Yeah.
So that's helping a lot. But
how do you set up comp for your crews? Is it just hourly, or do you have a piece rate system that you're doing?
No, it's hourly with like 3 tiers. So apprentice, painter, job site manager, they all get a different hourly. But then the bonus structure is all the same for them, right? The bonus structure isn't weighted on role at all or seniority, but it is weighted on hours. So like if job site manager works 5 hours on the project and painter works 3 hours on the project, the job site manager will get 5 hours worth of the bonus pot, right? So the bonus pot at the end, whatever left over in that labor budget, gets divided into the total hours worked, which is why sometimes a lot of the posts are they earn an extra $6.30 an hour, which is also just a really cool way to put it to your painters. You know, they're like, oh, I got $20 on this small little job. But you're like, dude, that's extra $2 an hour. They're like, dang, like that. So it's also a really cool way to put it to them. Yeah, in terms of how we're hitting it, one, I just think it's the right systems in place, the right management of the team. I don't honestly think we're really pricing like that much crazy higher than people. Like if you look at the average like market rate for stuff in Cleveland, like I think we're right there, like kind of dead smack in the middle, I would imagine, at least from the research and stuff I've done and what I've seen. I will say one thing that does help a little bit is we sell in packages, right? So we do like a good, better, best system. And the good, better, best will have extra margin built in. Because what I realized early on is like, okay, like duration's a couple dollars more for me than super paint or whatever. Well, if I only increased it enough to account for my extra actual material costs, it's like, okay, it's 5,000 for the standard package and 5,100 for the gold package. And everybody just picked the top package because there's no discrepancy. So I did have to build a bigger gap in there. So it was actually a decision in the sale in terms of the sales process. And I will say, like with that, our gold and our platinum package, our good and our best package will have way more margin on it. So yeah, it's not going to be nearly as hard to hit like a 60, 70% GP on a gold or a platinum package.
That's funny. I like having the tiered pricing, and you're almost looking at it as like a software package or a coaching package model, right? And you're looking at it not as like the inputs of what it takes to make that purchase or the product to fulfill the product, but you're looking at it as what's the percentage of people that are actually taking me up on this offer. And so if you were just looking at inputs, that $5,100 job, then the one to the $5,000 job, like, hey, everyone's picking the 5,000. Well, let's keep increasing the 5,100 until only like 60% of people or 50% of people are picking it.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at it from a purely like exactly sales process and operations point of view. To that point, like one thing I'm constantly thinking about, and we see this way more with exteriors and interiors, is like market rate versus what's needed to hit our margins, right? Like I need both. But it's like we just looked at an exterior the other day where it was like, yeah, we could have dropped it to like $7,000 and still be on pace for 55% GP, which is our KPI internally. But the market rate on that house is 10. We're gonna go bid and sell for 10, right? Like that is the market rate. And yes, we're gonna probably crush it at like 70% GP, and that's gonna be great, right? Like nobody's gonna complain about making more money. At least I don't complain about making more money over here.
For sure. Yeah. And if you're providing more value, then let the homeowners pay more. I mean, no one's getting ripped off if everyone's getting a good deal. So
Here's the other thing it does too, like with that is then you have the ability to go knock down a package and still have margin and everything. So yeah, you also get the opportunity because you have more margin built in, you also have the opportunity to provide a better service.
Yeah.
Which I think a lot of people don't think about.
yeah, 100%. Cool, man. I mean, what are you? I think the kind of the main theme today. Actually, there's two themes. So one theme was virtual sales, and I think the main learning was just go try it. Actually, have a sales process that you follow during your in-person
Yes.
sales calls, and then try virtual.
100%. Yeah, like sales process first. Get good at a actual sales process where you have it written out and you say the same things every time. Get good at that first, and then the transition to virtual is just a few tactics. That's it.
Yep. And then and then the other one is on increasing and stabilizing and increasing gross margin is all around piece rate, employee ownership, and budgeting hours.
100%.
It's almost exactly how I did it. We'd pay our painters a flat rate or an hourly rate. I would always present the job to them in terms of number of hours. So it's okay, guys, this is a 50-hour job. You guys done in 40 hours, you will pay you for 50. And then the proportion of how many hours each one of the painters worked, they would get that percentage of the overage.
Yep. Very, very, very similar.
Yeah. That's sick, dude. Any words of motivation for people who are dragging their feet on getting piece rate set up?
And like the bonus structure and stuff.
Yeah.
I think so. One, I think is just really, I think it serves several purposes. One, it's really cool for your team and it's very motivating for them. Let me tell you, like we just brought in a new guy that's fairly experienced painter, and he came to his first exterior, and they're about to walk out of this thing with like a $20 an hour bonus. Like they're just gonna crush this thing. Super motivating for him. His first week with the company, right? Really cool. So very motivating for them. It's a way to motivate them without having to motivate them. So like I don't need to be the paint owner, and a lot of people do this. All the sub crews I worked with did this. They're constantly on their team's ass, like, "Yo, we got to hurry this up. We got to hurry this up. We got to get to the next job. We got to do." And it's like your team doesn't want you to come to the job site. Where it's like they're already intrinsically motivated by it. It's like you have the budget, you know what it is, and you know this is how you get more, right? So naturally, you're already motivated to get to that because you're going to make more money if you do. The other thing that I think is really cool, like, I think some people haven't seen this, like from my posts, is they're like, oh, he's bragging about like his 67% gross profit. But like the cooler brag to me is his 67% gross profit while my painters earn an extra $6 an hour. Like that's almost more fulfilling. Like I'm a big culture guy, I'm a big people and a big team guy. And like the coolest thing in the world is knowing I'm able to pay my team more in a bonus and take care of them, and they can provide a better life to their family and get rewarded for their hard work without jeopardizing my company. So that the company's still going to be here for them next month, next year, et cetera. And like, that's the coolest thing in the world is like giving somebody a fat bonus and knowing like they earned every dollar of it. And I didn't make a bad decision as a company owner because we were still super profitable.
Yeah. One of my themes this quarter internally here at Painter Growth is the most selfish thing you can do as a business owner. The most selfish thing you can do is to treat your team and treat your employees really well and pay them well. Because then they're going to work their asses off for you and make you more money. So be selfish. Good work.
Aligned incentives, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
We all win when we all win. Like, here's the cool part. With my painter's bonus, like guaranteed we hit above 55% GP. If I see a painter's bonus, I'm like, great, we crushed it. When we're way over on hours and you got one of those jobs that screwed up that you're at 30% GP, nobody's bonusing on those, right? And those suck. Like we all lost. Nobody bonus. We all feel bad.
Yep.
Right. And when we all win, we all win. Right. My project manager's bonusing on those. My sales guy's bonusing on those. Like, so yeah, it's aligned incentives. We're all rowing the same direction.
And homeowner stoked because it's done ahead of schedule.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally everybody wins. Not many things in life where everybody wins.
Love it, dude. Well, hey man, thanks for coming on again. And just real quick, I guess, if you want, do you want to share the project you're just launching right now?
I can't yet. No, I can't. Honestly, it will be shared privately over the next couple months, but it probably won't be shared publicly for several months. Right. So no, I can't yet. I'm sorry.
Keep it on the DL. All right, dude. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate you.
Thanks for listening to the Painter Growth Podcast. If you want to grow your painting business, go to www.paintergrowth.com or click on the top link in the description. Talk soon.